Good day, this is Pastor Michael Mitchell at God's Barn Church. How are you doing today? This is my first time on this platform. I've been around for about 5 or 6 years on YouTube and Facebook. But today I've created a group called Mosques with Crosses. And I want to tell you a little bit about this, how I come about this. All my stories, there's probably 350 hours of sermons on YouTube on God's Barn Church. And these will be posted on YouTube, Mosques with Crosses. But here's how this come about. And I tell this story every time I do this. And because I'll tell you why. You see, this is a first-hand experience. This is something that happened to me. And just like all the people before us, like Paul or whatever, they merely stated their experience, right? That's what they did. They just said, this is what happened to me. And for me, as I tried to navigate, I retired from federal service. I've only been a preacher about 6 years, As I navigated through this, trying to understand this and explain it to people, you see, and then it became where I just said, well, why didn't I just tell you what happened? And that's when everything the same changed for me. Now, I'll tell you this real quickly. And if you go to God's Barn Church, YouTube, it'll tell you this for hours, because I talk a long time. Simply put, I was sent to land that was terribly defiled. There was demons on the land. There were evidently these demons had captured the people that were there. They were indigenous people. This happened about 4,000 or 5,000 years ago. Eventually, they had this big old house there, and it was every room in there, and had about 16 rooms with somebody talking, yelling, screaming, howling, like the old chain in the attic. See, for some strange reason, he did not want me here. This demon did not want me. He didn't want nothing to do with me. But the demon that came in my house, he really liked me. He wanted me to go with him. You see, so it's a strange thing there. But anyway, to make a long story short, I was trying to cast him out. I just took the barn, I made it a church, I blessed it, held communion with 2 other Christians, and then he couldn't come back to that place. I surmised that the water was there, that those people that came to get that water out of that spring, that somewhere, sometime back a long, long, long time ago, something really happened over that water there. You know what I'm saying? We will never know until we get to heaven. But my point is, about 5 years after that, I had a vision as I was writing this book. And in this vision, the book, I'll just tell you one little part. He shows me people that are in white robes from the waist down. And he explains to me how much he loves them and everything, adores them. And he wants me to preach to them. And I asked him, I said, nobody can come to the Father except you, right? Essentially. And he says, you're correct. He says, however, it is not your job to determine someone's salvation. That's my job. So I never, ever go around and go, that guy's going to hell. That don't look good. Don't do that. Do not do that. Number 2 is, he says, your job is to preach the gospel. Now, there's much, 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 much more to this, obviously. But this is what I base this whole experience off of. And this is when I preach to you, whether I preach out of the Bible or in customs, traditions to Christians, Jewish people, and Muslims. Lots of times I'll come back to this and refer it. Does that make sense? Essentially what Paul did, that's what they all did, you see. So that's the part of that. Now, I do want to tell you this here. I have permission to go to all these mosques, 41 and counting, and I can preach the gospel, baptize, communion. I got invitation letters to do it right now. Kenya, South Sudan, Senegal, Mozambique, another country too, I can't remember what it is. Anyway, that's just waiting for it to happen. And it will happen. It will happen. And it's going to be the most amazing thing I think anybody on this earth is ever going to see. It really is. You see, I'm not they have to hear the gospel for real, okay? They can't get the fake gospel. They got to get the real deal, just like everybody else. They get the real deal. And I'll explain much more on practices of the three great religions. Remember, our God is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? So anybody in there that's Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we get in the tribe of Abraham through Jesus Christ, right? Then we now are in the kingdom of God, okay? So there's a whole lot there to talk about, and I don't have much time, but please enjoy these. I'll do a sermon every day. I can only do 10 minutes, or something, so I'm just going to start poking in on these things. And if you got a message you want to heal or you want to talk about or you have a question, let me know. Let me know. And you may be amazed, all right? Oh, one more thing. And this is what I tell the folks. Based upon what he said, he adores these people. I just told you that. However, he doesn't recognize Islam, Muslims, because he would have called it by name. He called them his beloved children, okay? And that's just what I say. That's what I saw. He didn't say these are these folks here and you go, no, these are my beloved children. You do this and this and this. He doesn't recognize that. He recognizes on, just like the Jewish people, their works on getting to heaven. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about a million things. Thank you. Bye.